Discover the incredible story of a young girl who sacrificed food for books. A millionaire's touch awaits. In a cramped apartment rattling with the sounds of a city too alive to sleep, 12-year-old Mia Turner sat cross-legged on her bedroom floor, a kaleidoscope of colorful covers surrounding her. Each book was a portal, a promise of adventures waiting just for her. But there was something she wanted even more than the characters leaping from the pages, a life beyond the concrete walls of their neighborhood, where dreams seemed like distant stars. Her parents worked tirelessly, juggling multiple jobs, trading sleep for survival, often skipping meals simply to afford her school books. They poured all their energy into her future, reminding her that knowledge was the key to escaping their struggles. Mia's heart swelled with gratitude, but it ached, too. She knew she couldn't let their sacrifices go to waste. With determination burning bright, she took a part-time job at a local cafe, right on the corner where kids kicked soccer balls and laughter filled the air. Every time she skipped lunch to save money for the new stories that echoed in her mind, the ache of hunger felt lighter, wrapped in the hope of possibilities. As the city buzzed outside, Mia flipped through her favorite book, captivated by the story of a boy like her, a reclusive millionaire who had once worn the same shoes, same neighborhood, and had found his way out. Her dreams were big, but reality loomed over her like shadows in the alleyways. School was getting tougher, and she feared she was falling behind. Her parents noticed her stress. They could see her tired eyes, the way she bit her lip as she studied late into the night. They wanted stability for her, but all she could see were the dreams painted across her book's pages. Then, everything changed. News swept through the community like wildfire. Gentrification was headed their way. The cherished shops, the cafe where she worked, and even the small grocery store where her parents toiled were in peril. Fear sparked in her neighbor's eyes, tightening her chest. She caught snippets of conversations filled with worry. Mia felt a stirring in her heart. It was time to be more than just a dreamer. Mia gathered her friends, their youthful bravery igniting a movement. They chanted in front of City Hall, voices rising into the air like magic sparks, children speaking truths they'd learned from their parents about perseverance and community. Together we can stand, she shouted, a fire in her soul. Just when they thought hope was out of reach, the millionaire she had read about heard about their fight and offered to help. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Mia stood wide-eyed, heart racing as she prepared to meet him. Questions swirled around her mind. Did she deserve this chance? Did her dreams really matter, or was she simply a girl from a struggling neighborhood? The stakes were high now, and the hopes of her community rested on her small shoulders. Would she inspire her neighbors to fight for the life they dreamed of, or would the weight of reality dim her bright spirit? The moment loomed, a chance to reshape everything. And as she faced the world outside her door, Mia felt a spark of possibility. The sun cast long shadows across the small courtyard as Mia stood there, anxiety swirling in her stomach like a storm. This was it. The $1,000,000 chance she had only imagined in her wildest dreams was about to unfold before her eyes. The cafe buzzed behind her, the familiar sounds of steaming milk and the clattering of dishes fading into the background. Today, however, she barely registered them. Who am I to him? She whispered to herself, the weight of her doubt heavy on her chest. But then, she caught sight of her friends who had rallied with her. Their faces were painted with determination, and amidst that storm of uncertainty, courage began to stir deep within her. Don't think about the who. Think about the why, Sophie, her best friend, whispered, nudging her elbow gently. You've got this, Mia. Mia nodded, drawing in a deep breath. Memories flooded her mind, the sacrifices her parents made, the late night studying, and the laughter shared with her friends while they fought to keep the community alive. They would not let it be taken from them without a fight. As the doors to City Hall swung open, she felt a rush of cool air that filled her lungs. A figure emerged, tall and commanding, surrounded by aides and cameras flashing like stars in the night sky. It was him, the millionaire, the one whose story had kindled a fire in her heart. "Mia Turner," he said, his voice booming across the crowd, fixing his gaze on her. "You've rallied your community with passion and hope." She could hardly breathe. His eyes felt warm, full of promise and intrigue. "Thank you for coming," she called out, her voice rising above the clamor. The crowd grew silent, all eyes on her. The world felt so still, just her and the millionaire. "What do you need?" he asked, leaning slightly forward, as if he genuinely wanted to know. Mia's heart raced. Here he was, a person of influence ready to help, but what could she possibly say that echoed the true gravity of their situation? The cafe was not just a job, it was a lifeline for her family. It was laughter, connection, and hope for all. "Everything is on the line, my parents, my friends, our homes." She paused, glancing back at the faces of her neighbors who stood in a protective circle around her. "We need support, resources, and more than anything, we need to be heard. We want our stories, our lives, to matter." The millionaire listened, nodding with serious intent, but Mia could see the sparkle of curiosity in his eyes. Was it compassion or a mere fleeting interest? She held her breath, waiting for a response. Just as he opened his mouth to speak, a commotion erupted from the crowd. A man stepped forward, shouting about closing the cafe for good. Mia's heart sank. She turned to the millionaire, desperation filling her voice. "If we lose the cafe, we lose everything." The millionaire looked between them, weighing the urgency of her plea against the man's anger. "Then let us do something about it," he replied resolutely, his demeanor shifting. Mia felt hope swell inside her. Finally, a glimpse of solidarity. But just as everything seemed to align, uncertainty lingered in the air. What would this new alliance mean? Could they really fight against the powers that wanted to erase their lives? The meeting had only just begun, and the challenges that lay ahead could twist her dreams into nightmares. With every heartbeat, Mia was poised at the edge of a precipice, ready to leap into the unknown. Would they rise together, or would the shadows of the city crush them? As the crowd murmured in anticipation, she realized the journey was only beginning, and so were the stakes. What would happen next could change everything. Mia's heart raced as the millionaire's words hung in the air. Would he truly stand by them? The crowd shifted, anticipation buzzing like the hum of electricity. She could sense her friends, tight-lipped, sharing her hope and fear. As the man continued speaking, promising to look into their plight, Mia clung to every syllable. "But we'll need a plan," he said, his brow furrowing in thought. "You can't just fight the shadows without a strategy. We'll organize a community meeting, discuss what resources we need. I want to hear your stories, every single one." Mia nodded, though 1,000 questions swirled in her mind. What if the plan fell apart before it even began? She imagined a future where the cafe remained, bursting with laughter and life, but equally, the specter of failure loomed large. The angered man stepped closer, his face flushed. "And what makes you think he'll actually help? He's just a rich guy looking for good publicity. You're naive if you think this will work." The millionaire's expression hardened as he met the man's challenge. "I've built my life on taking risks. Change happens when people start believing in each other. What's your story? What's driving your anger? Maybe there's more than meets the eye." The man hesitated, caught off guard by the sincerity in the millionaire's voice. Mia took a breath, trying to catch the energy of the moment. "The cafe means more than just coffee," she interjected. "It represents everything we have fought for as a community. It's where we celebrate, where we come together as families. The fear of losing it is tearing us apart." Sophie stepped forward, her voice steady despite the tension. "This isn't just about a business, it's about our homes, our memories. If we can't be heard, then what do we have left? Mia could sense the shifting tides in the crowd. Some nodded, eyes sparkling with hope. Others still bore skeptical looks, but questions lingered in the air. The millionaire's focus returned to Mia, who felt the weight of her own life mirrored in his gaze. Let us turn your stories into a campaign. You'll have a voice. And we'll make sure the community knows what's at stake. Together, we'll build pressure. I will commit to supporting you if you're willing to stand together. Mia swallowed hard, excitement mingling with fear. The possibility bloomed inside her, pushing against the walls of her doubt. But doubts continued to cling, whispering questions into the silence. What if he faltered? What if their efforts went unnoticed? One by one, her friends expressed their commitment, their voices rising in unison. We're in, they cried, and those words jolted the crowd. As the millionaire began discussing plans, Mia felt a warmth uncoil in her chest. We can actually do this, she thought, her mind racing with all the places this could take them. But before they could dive deeper into the logistics, the reality outside their small bubble rushed back in when sirens echoed down the street. Panic rippled through the crowd, and Mia instinctively turned to see flashing lights growing closer. A chill gripped her heart. What could it mean? Stay calm. The millionaire called out, but his authoritative tone barely cut through the rising tension. Mia's throat felt dry as she exchanged worried glances with her friends. Would the fight begin before it truly started? Or was this just the beginning of something bigger than they had imagined? Mia's gut churned again. They had lifted their voices, but would they be silenced before they had a chance to be heard? As the first emergency vehicle screeched to a halt, Mia's heart sank with uncertainty. What awaited them as the sirens wailed? Would their hopes shatter before even taking flight? A new storm was brewing on the horizon. Mia felt a wave of anxiety wash over her as the first responders jumped from their vehicles, their uniforms sharp against the chaotic backdrop of the crowd. Questions swirled in her mind, tangling with fear. What had they walked into? Slowly, the atmosphere shifted from a hopeful gathering to one of stark concern. The millionaire stepped forward, his demeanor calm yet commanding. What's going on? He asked, striding toward the nearest officer. The man in blue glanced at the crowd before answering, his voice steady but serious. We received reports of a disturbance nearby. Just a precaution, we're here to ensure everyone's safety. Murmurs darted through the gathering, a mix of confusion and unease. Mia exchanged worried looks with Sophie and Jake. They drew closer together, a shield against the mounting anxiety. The buzz of hope that had ignited moments before was threatened, flickering like a flame in the wind. But as the sirens blared and chatter grew louder, Mia reminded herself of the fight ahead. She couldn't let fear dictate their actions. She tugged at Sophie's sleeve. We need to make sure we stay united. If we let the chaos overwhelm us, we'll lose our chance. Sophie nodded, determination settling in her expression. Right. We can't let this shake us. We're in this together. Jake chimed in, his brow furrowing as he scanned the area. We should be ready to speak out if something goes down. If they see a united front, they'll know we won't back down. The millionaire returned to them, his voice even. We can turn this moment into our strength. Let us show them the passion we hold for this community. If we believe in each other, we can weather any storm. He stepped back, taking a breath. I need all of you. Gather close. I want to hear your stories, share what this place means to you loudly. We're not here just for ourselves, we're here for everyone who's counting on us. With a spark igniting in her chest, Mia felt courage rise amongst her friends. This was their moment. She stepped forward, heart racing but resolute. Our cafe is more than just a building. It's our gathering place. It's where we laugh, cry, come together for birthdays, anniversaries, and the everyday, she said, her voice shaking but strong. We fight for the memories it holds because if we lose that, we lose a part of ourselves. Other voices joined in, rippling through the crowd as more people stepped up. Each share ignited another, sparks of determination growing louder with every story. Parents spoke of children's first gigs, friends swapped tales of late-night talks over steaming mugs, and the elderly recalled the threads of community that wove through the cafe. But already, the police presence grew more serious, and an unsettling tension gripped the air. Suddenly, the angry man who had spoken earlier broke through, his voice raised. "What's the point? Do you think they'll listen because you're shouting? What happens when they decide to bulldoze us anyway?" The words landed like stones. Mia felt the lump rise in her throat. Was he right? What if their effort fell on deaf ears? The millionaire's eyes narrowed, and he stepped up again, holding a sturdy gaze. "They will listen. We have to believe they will, and we will show them that we stand for something greater than ourselves." His declaration rallied the crowd, voices lifting once more. But just then, from the growing silence among the crowd came a terrifying sound, a commotion near the emergency vehicles. Mia turned to see a flash of struggle, and her heart dropped. Could the fears they had all harbored become a reality right before their eyes? Together. "No matter what happens, we face it as one." The millionaire called out, and Mia's hope ignited again. But as the scene unfolded before them, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of an uphill battle. Would they truly be ready for what lay ahead? How deep would their resilience be called into question in the face of real danger? As uncertainty loomed, Mia steeled herself for the confrontation that was about to mark the turning point of their fight. Mia's heart raced as the commotion intensified. Her eyes darted toward the flashing lights and the rising shouts. Was someone hurt? The tension around her thickened like fog. She felt Sophie squeeze her hand, a silent message of solidarity. They weren't just fighting for something as simple as a cafe anymore. It felt bigger, dangerous, even. The millionaire remained in front of them, his unwavering stance grounding them. "Stay close. We won't let fear run us off," he shouted, the desperation in his voice mixing with an almost palpable courage. Mia could see his resolve igniting something in the crowd, many faces reflecting her own feelings of uncertainty twisted with determination. As the commotion continued, a few officers began to move toward the struggle. An argument had flared between two men, one of whom appeared to be intoxicated. Realizing the scene was more chaotic than dangerous, Mia's shoulders relaxed slightly. She heard Jake murmur under his breath, "If they can just defuse it," but just as quickly, a loud crash echoed through the air, and Mia's stomach dropped. It was as if the very ground beneath them shook. The disturbance shifted from verbal to physical, the drunk man lashing out. People gasped and stepped back, children crying in confusion, faces scrambling to make sense of the chaos. "Everyone, step back," an officer shouted, his voice sharp and clear. Mia felt Sophie and Jake shift slightly for safety. The millionaire turned, his gaze scanning the crowd. "We must project calm," he urged. His voice was steady, but Mia could hear a hint of fear beneath the surface. "If they see that we're united, they will see us." The angry man from before reappeared, shouting over the crowd, "Look where that got us. You think they care about us? They don't." Moments like this were what he feared. Mia could feel it too, a shadow creeping in, feeding doubt. "Shut up!" someone yelled back from the crowd. "You're only spreading more fear." Mia's heart ached. Could despair undo everything they had built? But she also felt a different fire burning inside her. She knew they needed to show the strength and hope they carried in their hearts. With a deep breath, she took a step forward, her small frame visible amidst the chaos. "Please, everyone," she called, her voice cutting through the noise. "This is what they want to divide us. We are stronger together." More heads turned, attention shifting back to her. It was working. Jake stepped beside her, adding, "Every story shared here proves we are a community. We have hope and history. We can't let one moment, one disruption take that away from us. Sophie joined in, her voice strong and clear, we must stand together, for each other. For all we've built. Don't let fear win. The crowd began to respond, voices rising together, meeting the chaos with a symphony of unity. The energy shifted. Mia felt the warmth of shared purpose wrap around them, dulling the sharpness of panic. Slowly, she began to believe it just maybe, their voices could rise above the noise. But then, in the thrumming heart of that fragile hope, the confrontation escalated. The officer seemed overwhelmed by the protest coming from the crowd. With a sudden decision, he pulled out a baton, a gesture that sent ripples of fear through those closest. Mia's breath caught in her throat. What would happen next? Could peace truly emerge from this chaos, or would everything they fought for unravel before their very eyes? As she stood at the crossroads of courage and fear, she knew the choice would shape their future together. Would their united front be strong enough to withstand the growing storm? The moment loomed before them, heavy with tension and potential. Amid the chaos, Mia's heart thudded louder than the shouts around her. Every eye seemed locked on the officer with the baton, a chill of fear swirling among the crowd. The air grew thick with uncertainty, the stakes of this moment crystallized. Would they really have to fight back against authority to preserve the little haven they'd built together? Jake's voice broke through her spiraling thoughts. Everyone just stay calm. He stepped forward, a slender barrier between the crowd and the officer, his eyes flickering with defiance. The millionaire, following Jake's lead, stood resolute, arms spread wide. We're here to protect each other. These are our streets. With that simple declaration, the sense of unity among them surged. Mia felt it reverberate within her, heartfelt voices rising in agreement. Together. They shouted, the word echoing as a battle cry, a lifeline cast into raging waters. Sophie's voice sprang up beside Mia, fierce and unwavering. You can't intimidate us. We won't back down. Every word struck a chord, strengthening the resolve they all felt. The crowd swelled with emotion, and in that moment, hope ignited a fire in their hearts for what they believed. But then, the officer charged in, his baton raised menacingly. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Mia's stomach twisted, she was rooted in place, paralyzed by dread. This was how it was meant to be, fighting the very people who had sworn to protect them. Suddenly, she noticed an elderly woman at the front, shaking with fear. Please, don't. The woman cried, her voice breaking. The air grew still, the gravity of their situation settling on all of them, like a heavy fog. Mia shifted, her heart aching for the old lady. She began, her voice faltering, but she fought to continue. You are part of this, too. We all are. She stepped into the limelight, forcing herself to stand firm. We have to show them our strength, not with violence, but with love. A ripple of surprise sparked in the crowd, curious heads tilting towards her, and she felt the weight of their attention. Gathering her courage, she locked eyes with the officer silhouetted against the flashing lights. We aren't your enemy. We want to build a better future. Please, let us talk instead. The officer hesitated, confusion playing across his face as he glanced back to his colleagues. The tension on his brow began to soften, just slightly, but it was a start. See. They hear us. Sophie chimed in, continuing to raise her voice with a comforting strength. No one wants conflict. We want to come together as a community. There was a momentary lull, an electric pause where hope clashed with fear. Mia's eyes darted around the crowd, finding trust blossoming in their expressions. People who'd been strangers just moments before now stood side by side, bolstered by unseen ties. Mia straightened, pulling from that deep well of belief she thought she'd lost. We won't allow fear to dictate our future. She shouted, her small frame less significant against the weight of their unity. Together, we can be heard. Suddenly, someone from the back shouted, let us march together. The words swept through the air like fresh wind, igniting renewed fervor. The crowd began to shout, loud and proud. But as moments passed in that charged atmosphere, a piercing scream rang out that cut through their rallying cry. A figure emerged from the chaos, a woman, frightened and frantic, racing toward them. "They're coming! They're coming!" Mia's heart sank. Who were they? What was happening? Were the authorities really going to turn against them? All these questions loomed, and the crowd was restless. Tension coiled back, the fragile hope they had just built threatened to shatter. What awaited them now in this swirling storm? There was no turning back. Mia's heart raced as the terrified woman stumbled into the circle of light. She was breathless, eyes wide with panic. The weight of her words hung heavy in the air. "They're coming for us." The crowd shifted uneasily. Mia felt the energy drain from the moment, like a balloon suddenly deflated. She glanced at Jake, who was still standing firm, but the flicker of fear crossing his face mirrored her own. What was really happening? Were they truly about to face the culmination of all their worries? "What do you mean, they?" Jake pressed, stepping closer to the frantic woman. "The officers, they're calling for reinforcements. They want to clear us out." Each word tumbled out of her mouth in a rush, a wave of urgency driving her thoughts. "I overheard them in the alley. They think they can force us away from here." Mia felt her gut twist. They had already come so far, built something precious from the ashes of their struggles. To lose it now, she couldn't fathom it. Would their dreams dissolve in the face of authorities' demand? The distinct sound of sirens began to fill the air, a reminder of the imminent confrontation brewing just beyond their sight. "Stay together!" Someone shouted from the back, grounding the swirling feelings of dread. The crowd tightened around Mia, forming a protective circle, locking arms with one another. "Listen!" Sophie called out, her voice reverberating through the anxious crowd. "We started this for a reason. We believe in a community, a safe space for everyone." "Yes." People echoed, fists pumping into the air. Mia could feel the energy shift again, as determination sparked in their hearts. But the sirens grew louder, growing closer. Mia scanned the faces around her. Fear and determination mingled strangely. She sensed an implicit question in the crowd, a need for direction. They looked to her, searching for something: leadership, inspiration, hope. "What do we do?" A voice from the back called out, tarnished with desperation. Mia swallowed hard, her mind racing for a plan. "We need to show them we're not afraid. We're here for each other. Let us stand firm and keep talking." Jake nodded, his earlier bravado igniting once more. "Right. We can't let them break us. Let us chant. Let us show them our unity." As they began to chant, a rhythmic pulse found its way through the crowd. "Together. Together." It rolled out like thunder, swelling into a force too large to be ignored. It was hope spilling out of their mouths, resonating in their hearts. But as they yelled, another wave of chaos washed over them. Several officers emerged from the side streets, their numbers far exceeding the handful that had faced them earlier. They moved with stern resolve, batons in hand, eyes shielded behind dark sunglasses. Mia's breath caught in her throat. Fear seeped back in like a cold breeze. "Stay together!" Jake shouted, pushing the words forward as if they were the last bastion against encroaching doom. Yet just as it seemed they would face the storm head-on, a new sound emerged, an unexpected voice from the side. "Wait! Stop! You don't have to do this." Mia turned, eyes wide. There stood Ella, a longtime member of their community, steps ahead of the group, arms raised high in a plea for peace. What was she doing? "Please. No violence. We're not your enemies. We're here to create a better future, just like you." Ella's words spilled out, a thread pulling at the tension between both sides. Mia's heart fluttered with a complicated mix of hope and fear. Would Ella's courage sway the officers? Would it somehow transform this moment from conflict to connection? Uncertainty hung thick in the air as they all collectively held their breath, waiting for what would come next. The officers paused, their eyes fixed on Ella. The world around them seemed to freeze for a moment, as if everyone was waiting for a signal to exhale. Mia felt the tension crackle, spiraling into silence. Could Ella really get through to them? The lead officer, a man with a hard face and a clipped mustache, exchanged glances with his team. He seemed to weigh his options, the rigidity in his stance wavering just a touch. Mia dared to hope. "Step back," he finally commanded, his voice sharp as a knife. "This is a warning. You're violating city ordinances. Clear the area now, or we will take action." Ella lowered her arms slightly, but her voice remained steady. "We're not causing trouble. This is a peaceful gathering. We're standing for our right to have a community, a space where we can support each other. But at what cost?" He shot back, the impatience leaking into his tone. The tension bubbled over, and Mia felt the panic of the crowd rise again. Jake stepped in closer to Ella, solidarity shining in his eyes. "We're here to promote change. We're not hurting anyone. We just want to be heard." The crowd echoed with fervent resolve. "We just want to be heard." The chant pulsed through the air again, and for a moment, it felt like their voices could break through the wall of authority standing before them. Mia's heart raced. Ella was fighting a battle far larger than herself, standing at the intersection of fear and strength. Mia knew they were all in this together, they needed to rally. "We care about our community. We care about each other." Her voice rang out, raw and full of urgency. She looked around, eyes locking with each person in the crowd, imploring them to hold on to hope. The officer's brow furrowed as he glanced back at his men, visibly torn. The voices of the crowd might just be making a crack in his armor. The officer's tight-lipped demeanor softened, flickers of doubt playing across his features. For a heartbeat, Mia thought they might actually break through. But then the moment shattered. "You have 30 seconds to disperse." He barked, his eyes hardening again. The anger in his voice pulled them all back into reality. The possibility that things could turn violent loomed overhead like a storm cloud. Mia's pulse quickened. She could feel the crowd waver, fear creeping back in. Would they really stand strong against the weight of authority? Then she remembered the reasons they had come together in the first place: the sleepless nights, the dreams shared under the starlit sky, the kinship built from shared struggles. Fight for each other. She cried, desperation flooding her voice. "We can't let them divide us. We're stronger together." As fear met resolve, the crowd swelled again, their spirit reigniting. The room seemed electric with energy, an unyielding defiance coursing through every person present. Yet one question pierced through the fervor. Would that empower them enough to stand their ground, or would they flee before the looming power of the authorities? Just then, a small child tugged at Mia's sleeve, her innocent eyes unmistakably wide with fear. "Are they going to hurt us?" she whispered, the question sinking into Mia's heart like a stone. That simple query brought a new wave of anxiety. Mia knelt down, looking the child in the eyes. "No, they won't if we stand together. We're all a family here," she said, trying to instill courage within them both, though panic bubbled beneath the surface of her calm. "Look," Ella interjected, her voice steady yet full of warmth. "If we're not ready to fight now, we'll keep fighting later. Let us show them what we stand for without raising a fist." Just as Mia swelled with pride at Ella's words, the officer moved forward with his team again, their batons swinging down. Would they truly face this storm together, or would they crumble under the pressure? Mia took a deep breath, readying herself for the waves ahead. The heartbeat of the community was pounding in her ears, but the weight of what would come next was enough to send ripples of dread through her soul. Mia held her breath, exchanging glances with Ella and Jake, who faced the law enforcers with unmistakable determination. This was their moment to be brave. We won't back down, she thought. We are a community. That thought shot through her like a vial of adrenaline. Suddenly, the crowd erupted again, voices louder and more united. Stand together. Stand together. The sound swelled, a tidal wave of hope splashing against the concrete walls of authority. Mia felt fire in her veins as that chant rolled out, a beat to which her heart refused to falter. The lead officer hesitated again, his brow knitting in uncertainty. Listen, he said, raising a placating hand, this can end peacefully. All we ask is that you clear the area. Ella stepped forward, emboldened by the energy around them. And all we ask is to be treated with respect. Why can't we share our space without fear? We just want to talk. Mia could see the shift in the officer's posture. He was swaying, his resolve teetering. But a shout from behind the line of officers pulled Mia's attention. You're just wasting your time. They don't care about you. It was a voice from the shadows, sneering, as if tainting their moment of hope with harsh reality. The crowd murmured unease, the chant faltering for a heartbeat. But then someone in the back yelled, "We care. We matter. We've had enough." That voice reverberated and the crowd caught hold once more, their confidence swelling like a wave breaking with force against the rocks. Mia felt a rush of gratitude toward that unseen speaker, a new anchor strengthening their resolve. Together, they were harnessing the power of vulnerability, standing firm against intimidation. But just when it seemed they could tip the balance in their favor, the lead officer barked, "Enough games. If you don't disperse in 10 seconds, we will act." His voice was iron. That ultimatum hung heavy in the air, leaving a bitter existential fear. Mia's heart raced. What now? She looked into the eyes of the child at her side, who clung to her hand. In this moment, that innocent face radiated purity, hope, and trust. We can't let them feel scared, she thought fiercely, pushing a wave of strength out into the air. Focus on love. Ella's voice broke through, grounding them again. This is about love and unity. Remember why we're here. The crowd echoed and rearranged, fueled by Ella's words. Each person opened their hearts, transformed fear into fervor, arms raised high in solidarity. We will not be silenced. The countdown began, and time felt drawn out like an elastic band ready to snap. 3-2 as dread washed over them, Mia's eyes darted around at her community, their faces determined yet scared. They were all in this together. And one. The officer shouted, taking a step forward, batons raised. A collective gasp swept through the crowd, the air thick with tension. Just as their defense seemed obliterated, a voice rang out. Wait! A woman burst through the ranks, her messy bun bouncing as she ran forward. Wait! Listen to them. Mia's heart lurched. Who was this woman? What could she offer that could drown out the looming threat? As that mysterious figure approached, a fresh wave of curiosity and hope surged through the crowd. What would she say? Would she be the voice of reason that could change everything? The woman exuded an infectious energy, standing tall with an unwavering spirit. I'm Sarah, she called, her voice ringing out over the crowd. I've lived in this community longer than most of you have been alive. She gestured passionately, drawing attention away from the officers for just a moment. We are built on love, history, and the ties that bind us. We've weathered storms before, this is no different. Mia felt the crowd shift, a wave of hope washing over them again. Sarah continued, we've faced challenges that felt impossible, but we've also created a home filled with laughter, joy, and strength. Let us talk about our vision for the future, not just for ourselves but for every child and family here. The lead officer took a step back, brow now furrowed in confusion, caught between a mission and the stirring emotions in the air. The energy felt electric. In all my years, Sarah pressed on, her sincerity drawing in those who had been skeptical. I've seen this community rise. We've fought for schools, parks, and safe spaces. You think we'll let our neighbor's future slip away? The tone of her voice, filled with genuine passion, grabbed Mia's heart. With renewed determination, she joined in with the crowd, amplifying the message. We are here to unite. We are here to unite. The crowd echoed back, the chant building in intensity as if it were wrestling ground. Let them hear our story. Jake called, rallying the people again. This cafe is home. This land is home. Suddenly, a young boy from the crowd stepped forward, clutching a crumpled drawing of the cafe, vibrant colors surrounding a picture of happy faces. This is my favorite place. It's where I learned to ride a bike. He held it up, and a chorus of awe rose from the crowd. The lead officer blinked, clearly caught off guard. In that moment, that simple drawing shattered the hostility surrounding them. See? Sarah said, her voice softer now. Look at the beauty we create in small places. We're not just fighting for a building, we're fighting for memories, our lives. That's worth listening to. Mia felt her heart swell. They were painting a different picture now, a tapestry of their intertwined stories, more colorful and vibrant than anything an officer could seek to erase. She heard the crowd echo their convictions, we matter. Our stories matter. The officer shifted nervously, glancing at his colleagues, one of whom whispered something under his breath. Are we really going to break this up? You don't want that, Sarah urged, stepping toward them. You know you don't want that. We can work together. Let us not let fear dictate how we live. Please. Mia joined in, her voice breaking with emotion. We want to stay. Just listen. We can be your allies, we can change this. The atmosphere shifted again, the weight of their unity pressing in, almost tangibly. She could feel the love they all shared, buoying them up like a tide. We're not just a bother, we're a community that thrives on collaboration. The mere suggestion tugged at something in the officer's eyes. He stepped back, searching for a way to defuse the situation. All right, then he began, voice low but audible over the murmur of the crowd. Let us hear you out, just for a moment. Cheers erupted, and hope surged like a phoenix rising from the ashes. The crowd surged forward, and the millionaire's face lit up with pride. This isn't just the beginning. He shouted, his voice energized. This is our chance. As the officers began to lower their batons, the tension shifted from confrontation to conversation. Together, they had transformed fear into a platform for change. Mia beamed at her friends, feeling the bond between them grow deeper. This fight wasn't over, but they had turned a tide, igniting possibilities where fear had reigned before. They spent hours sharing stories, articulating dreams, securing plans for community support. The officers listened, and for the first time, they really heard. United in purpose and determination, Mia could feel their momentum building. She knew this was only the beginning. A bridge was formed that day, and they were all connected through hope, resilience, and the promise of a future that would shine brighter than any story she had ever read. As the sun began to dip behind the skyline, casting a warm glow over the crowd, Mia took a deep breath. A smile full of promise graced her face. They had just taken the first vital steps toward claiming their space, securing the safety of their neighborhood. What lay ahead might still be uncertain, but one thing was clear: a community united is a force to be reckoned with. And one thing was certain, Mia was ready for every challenge that came next, and every story yet to be written. So, here's the deal, you need to subscribe now. Hit that button and don't miss the next exclusive stories that will touch your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters, and it makes a difference. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. I want to hear your thoughts. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Together, let's keep the spirit alive.